don't pass that. Now we passed this here. This was Thursday night. I think I taught it Sunday morning, maybe. This is like 2 weeks ago, maybe, I think. But the release and remember and rest, it was just, everything in God, there are steps. And yet, we're there, but we're not there because there's still the process of getting to God's total purpose for your life, which always seems to become a mystery. But the mystery is not really a mystery if we would. Let's read this here. 12:2. Mm-hmm. Hebrews. Yeah. See, it's supposed to be men who make coffee. Hebrews. Didn't say she brew. Say Hebrew. So if y'all women are brewing coffee, y'all are out of the will of God. It's supposed to be Hebrew. No, we'll take that out. Check that. I'm sorry. Because somebody will make a doctrine out of that one for sure. But anyway, in Hebrews 12:2, it says, looking unto who? Now, I want to slow down. I want to say it real fast. When you think about what it says, looking unto Jesus, the author. Stop. Stop right there. Let's make sure we're going on the same leg here. He is the author. What does that mean to you? Sounds good. The initiator. See, if I say he's the author of this book, that means that he wrote it. It means that he controlled what's in it because he started it, right? But the Bible didn't say he just started it. But he also is a finisher. So in essence, we need to realize that what he started, are you going to finish it? Are you sure you're not trying to finish it? Or are you trying, do you think you are a finisher? Do you? Now be honest. Of course you do. And we all think that he can start it, but we can finish it. Hello? Right? Yeah, I know you started, God, but you see, I'm good at finishing. How many of you know you was finished before you started? Huh? You was already finished before you got started. So now he says, you know what? Since you was finished when I found you, you was already finished. Because the Bible says you were dead in your trespasses, so you was already finished. Your lot was already secured. So now when you begin to realize when he says, I am the author, I'm the one that came to you when you was finished to start something that only I can finish. You know, I was just riding this morning and the thought had come to me about the likeness and the image. See, Jesus came in the likeness of man, but he came in the expression of God. He looked like you, but he didn't express like you. Because the Bible said that Jesus is the expressed image of God. You know what happened is that somebody lost the image. And we're still trying to work on looking like God. You know what that devil told Adam now? If you can eat this here, you're going to be like God. Being able to judge. Do you think God ever intended for that be you? No, he lost the image of God trying to look like God. You can't look like God because no man had ever seen God at any time. But the only way you're going to be able to be like God, God has to be expressed through you. Jesus didn't come. That's why he didn't take no Polaroids. That's why there is no description. Was he bald? Did he look like Brother Wilson? Had a goatee? Didn't really say because it wasn't that important. Because looking like man was not that important. But what he came that was important was what he would express looking like man. He came in the likeness of sinful flesh, but he came to express unto the world what God really was like. See, being a Christian is about what God looks like and not what man looks like. That's why I say, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher. You didn't start it. I know you can't believe this. That's hard. It is so hard for us to get this. You didn't start this, and you ain't going to finish it. Because he's the only one that knows how to finish. When God was trying to make man, he didn't even let man in on the idea how to be made. He didn't touch Adam after he put a hand on and said, now what do you think? You need another hand? The Bible says he put him to sleep. He was out of it. He didn't have no idea. When he woke up, here he was. I'm a man. Do you think he knew how to make himself? You don't think he knew how to do that? Well, why in the world are you still trying to make yourself? You got to be who God called you to be. And he begins it and he finishes it. And the reason we have a lot of problems is because we're trying to institute what we think makes us better than perfect. He that called you is perfect. Anything he does in your life is perfect. But you know what? We rather settle for the imperfect and try to create something out of it and call it perfect. Well, praise God. You see, the Bible says, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. There can be no setting down until we start looking. There can be no rest until we look beyond. Until we can see our finisher, we can't stop. See, now I begin to realize when he talks about, for by grace are you saved through faith, not of works, lest any man should boast. The only reason why I could boast about anything is because of what I'm making. But it's hard to boast about anything that God has made because you had nothing to do with it. That's why the Bible says, when I make my boast in the Lord. Only the humble will hear it because the proud don't need the Lord. They're finishing their own course. They believe they can write their own book. See, what I love about this is that here God gives us this word, but he's bigger than this. He's bigger than this word here. But he gave us this word. And I was reading along, realizing that a lot of this Bible in here is like the full words of a good book, introducing you to the author. Right? Because you wouldn't know he was the author till you read his full words. I read his full words. Moses having a pen in the beginning. In the beginning, God created. He gave us these full words in which as we read that, all through this Bible, we get introduced to the author through the readings and the writings. He introduces himself. They say at least 42 people in his full words that begin to talk to us about God, tell us things about him. And even the things that was recorded wasn't all recorded, because he said if all was recorded, what he done, if the full words would have filled up too many books, because there's not enough books could be written on the things that he done. So he gave us a foretaste. And we look at the foretaste and see what he has done, which should incite you. But I can't say that it does, but it should. Seeing how they have represented him to us, and we read about all these great exploits of God and how he put the stars in the heavens, and his handiwork, the decoration of all these things in his glory. When we see all that, it still doesn't seem to resonate in our spirit that that's the same God that started something in us that only he can finish. I think sometimes we have in our handed down stuff, people say things, makes a little sense, and yet it doesn't make sense because someone said, well, you know, God gave us our own free will. True, in a sense, but at the same time, he had a will too. Now, which one of those wills you think is going to trump? You think he might trump yours out?
Yes, he will. Yeah, he will.
You think when he throw down his ace, yours going to fold up? Huh? Because the Bible said, I have created all things for my pleasure, and I've created it all for my purpose. We're talking about the author, the one that started. So you need to understand this right now. You didn't get created because you was an accident. See, our problem is, it's not the fact that we were created, but we don't know what we were created for. That creates a whole lot of disturbance in our thinking. You know, after a while, especially when you start getting over 60, you know, like when you start getting older. Anyway, when you start getting older, you start thinking about things like this more. Have I spent 67 years here? And what did I do? I mean, what did I really do? I never became president of the United States. I didn't even become a hero in the war. I didn't become a dean of a college. What did I really do? So I get to thinking. Because, you know, as human beings, we do all desire to have some kind of self-worth. We really do want to feel like we matter, right? How many of y'all don't care if you matter or not? Anybody don't care if you matter? We want to matter, right? Some of y'all married right now, I'll tell you right now. one of your favorite things is. He act like I don't even matter. Because you know why? I don't care, sis, if you can't cook, you just want to matter. At least you can throw something on the table and matter. I didn't say you couldn't cook. I'm just saying.
Right, I understand. Yeah. I want to be
But you want to matter. But we want to matter for the wrong reason. A lot of times it's that we're trying to find self-worth. That's why we put so much emphasis on our mattering. Because we're not really concerned. See, once you start living after the image of man, you become concerned about the things of man. See, that's a big difference in the image of God and the image of man. Because once I started trying to live out the image of man, I'm trying to find self-worth in myself, my human nature. I want my human nature to really matter. That's why it disturbs you when someone inconveniently hurt your human nature. It's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling in your human nature to feel like you're not loved enough. The first step in mental health is love. Can't get it. Anyone who don't know their love, they're wrestling with a lot of issues. Because being loved cures a lot of the ills that you might have in life. Most of the people I know in this world, most of them I know, their whole thing is the lack of knowing how much they're really worth. And yet they're basing their worth not upon the spiritual aspect of God, but we're basing it upon the natural. If we don't have no problems, guess what we believe? I must be worth a lot to God. That's why he ain't giving me no problems. Right? See how much God loves me? He loved me so much, boy. And, you know, you could almost get one-sided on this and start feeling like you're loved so much that every time somebody does not get your kind of love, they're supposed to get beat up. I mean, you know, God loves you in hard times, and he loves you in good times. Let's just put it together right. He loves you at all times. That's not a time. That's never a situation. There's never any type of anything going on. As Paul succinctly said, what can separate me? Tell me. Is there anything? I say, is there anything? Because I've heard in my days, I heard, I preached, I even said it. I used to see people, and I would say, if you love God, then you would do this. And if you didn't do that, you know what you told me? You know what you was telling me? You didn't love God. Do you know how many people today we said didn't love God because they didn't do it like we wanted them to? Do you know how many people today we probably messed up in life because we tried to create a love that satisfied only the flesh? The more we want to look like man, the more we want to make men look like men. But Jesus came to look like you so that you could be like him. Be like him is not being like any man. Matter of fact, that was one of the things they said. What manner of man is this? When was the last time someone said that about you? Or they may have said it, but it wasn't like they were talking to Jesus. It's usually they saying that because something crazy you've done. But Jesus, they said, what manner of man? We ain't never seen it on this wise before. Because he didn't come trying to do like man. He came to express God. And the Bible says he is the express image of God, the invisible God. And so what he came to show you, he didn't come trying to sport his back rack suit, did he? Matter of fact, they didn't know he was Jesus. He didn't get betrayed by how he was dressed. He got betrayed by a kiss. Because when it came, guess what? Guess what? They didn't even know who he were. Judas said, you know what? The one I go and kiss. Yeah. That's the one you got to get. Take it. If he were trying to live like a man, or if he was trying to be like any human being, he would have had bishop's rings on. He would have had one of them $2,500 robes they were trying to get me to buy. And you know, they told me, they said, if you buy this, your congregation don't really love you, but I didn't see y'all like that. He said, man, you put this on right here. He said, when you get up, man, your congregation, they just going to be loving you so much. I'm sorry. If I got to put that robe on and cost me $2,500 for you to love me, that's an expensive love affair. I'm going to have to raise some offerings or something. Oh, praise God. So here's what we got. Because this scripture is, like I said, everything in God, you have it, but everything is processed. You know, you don't, I bought my son a car, remote control, when he was a baby. I haven't given it to him yet, though. Yeah, well, it's when they first come out, them big, I got a big old car right now in my garage. Big old fat tires on it and everything. I played with it. I want him to have it. And he just never grew to it. He just never grew to it. I wanted to give it to him. But every year I thought about giving it to him, he just took up another toy, so I couldn't give that to him. It cost a little bit more. I was trying my best to process him into maturity so that one day I could give it to him. And so a lot of times people skip all these steps. See, I couldn't give him that remote control car because he never matured to that. But he kept getting older. But he never matured. So when it came time for him to get a car where he can drive, I couldn't get him that either. You know why? He failed the process early. Hello? See, he was failing the process all the way through. He started failing early because he could never follow instruction. I would say, son, take the garbage out. That's all he had. One log. Not a bunch of them. Take the garbage out. And you know what he would do? He will forget. He would never take the garbage out. I'd have to always come and tell him, son, take the garbage out. Oh, Dad, I took it out yesterday. You know, some people act like they ain't living because they're still talking about what they done yesterday. And not knowing as you keep on living, you got to keep on doing. So he never matured enough to get the little car. And when it came time for him to get the big car, he still hadn't matured. But everybody, he always wanted one. And just go to show you, I broke down. I gave him one. I gave him my black town car. You know how long it lasted him? No, 1 day.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Him, Jesus.
You know why? He done skipped all of the processes. And a lot of you today, you want a lot of big things in God. But you missed the process. One of the things you got to know, God doesn't change his instruction. He'll never change his instruction to fit your convenience. He doesn't change his word because something else happens. His word is forever settled. Your situation does not make God change what he said. But until we start getting processed and realize that he is the one started this stuff in you. As a matter of fact, he said, the work I started in you, he didn't tell you that. Guess who's going to finish that? Man, you got your sleeves rolled up. Man, I'm working hard for God. What kind of work are you doing? Tell me. Give me one thing that you are doing for God. Give me one. Because that would take away his title of saying, I am the author and finisher, if you're working. What work are you doing that he ain't already finished? Do you think he needs your song? You think he do? No. Good thing he'll need our song then we can't sing. Do you think he needs you here today? No, he don't. No. So what I'm asking you, what are you doing for God? And if you're doing something for God, when did he instruct you to do that? Because the last instructions I think he was given to me said, I want y'all to come unto me. All ye that, and what now? And you know what we ain't going to do? We ain't going to follow instruction. And you know what we still doing? Walk around, man, I got a burden for the Lord. Come unto me. All? Did he mean all? Except for a few people. He couldn't have meant everybody. Because everybody I meet is telling me they need to do a work for God. And he's saying to me, come unto me, all you that labor, and I will give you rest. See, you don't know that he's the finisher of your faith if you ain't resting. I don't work to get healed. I don't even work to get blessed. I don't work. You know why I quit? Because it was foolish of me to try to improve on what he's already finished. What I need to learn how to do is enjoy what he finished for me. Well, Brother Wilson, you know, we owe God something. What do you have to pay with? You broke? You broke, ain't you? Oh, I know. You got a little currency in the bank. I ain't talking about that kind. You can't spend that in heaven. Here you are broke, and you're telling me you want to give God something? The only thing God can take from you that means anything to him is called faith. Because without it, and yet what he instructs you to give, you won't give. When he instructs you to do, you won't do. But everything else he ain't told you to do, that's what you want to do. Brother called me this morning and said, man, I'll tell you what. I think what happened, we need to go on a 40-day fast. He might, but I ain't. If I go on a 40-day fast, because God, you can be sure of this. He going to tell me to go on 40 days. If he don't tell me to go on 40 days, because, see, he told me, he that is without the bridegroom, you need to be fasting. But he said, when you got the bridegroom, when you got everything you need, what are you fasting for? If you have everything you need, what are you fasting for? Hello? I said, if you believe that he is the author and the finisher of your faith, then I got everything I need. God is not going to move because I killed myself. He said you're going to be led by his spirit. When you get through fasting, it's what's sad. Many people fast and still won't hear God when they get through. I got to get an answer from God. I got to go on a fast. I got to go on a fast. Did you get an answer? Did he talk to you while you was there? Did he give you an answer? I ain't against fasting. It has health consequences. It can help you health-wise. But I ain't fasting to get nothing. Why? He already did that. See, when I see him doing for me what I couldn't do. How do you see it? See, I see him dying where I couldn't die. How you see that? Think you can take what he took? Some of you trying. You're still trying to take the beating that he took for you. I said, you still trying to take the beating that he took for you. You realize that he did. So how you perceive now this beating you taking? Could it be that you're not sitting and resting? Because if you're still trying to work, you're still trying to work through some things that's already been taken care of for you, if you understood that. Oh, Jesus. It was when Moses went up to Mount Horeb. He'd been fell from the pinnacles of the palace to the pit. He in Egypt, trying to be a good guy. He was a great man in Egypt, great among his brethren. You know how it is. Once you do something really good for God, you just want to keep doing it because you thought it was good. He happened to go out one day, see one of his brothers getting attacked by the Egyptian. He felt real good. So he went out there and slew the Egyptian. He's feeling really good now because everybody's kind of like, Moses, our hero. But he didn't want that word to get back. He's just doing it for friends, brethren. And they were the first one to talk to him. Said, Moses out there killing. Little man, shut that door for me back out. Can you do it for me? Moses killed him, hid him in the sand, and then everybody started talking about, next thing you know, Moses, you're going to do us the same way. And next thing you know, he's running for his life. Here he is out here on the backside of the fell. I'm talking about this guy had all that wisdom and power in Egypt, and now all of a sudden he's on the backside of the desert, and you know what he's doing? Nothing. He back here watering sheep. Got a little stick in his hand, watering sheep. And his whole life, you know what he's thinking? My life is over, because it's nothing like living in this world without purpose. Hear me? There's nothing more grievous to my mind than to think that I will come in this world and not have a purpose to be here, to me. But here he is one day, probably in that mullet grove. God, I thought you were going to use me. Now here I am sitting over here on the other side. Ain't got nothing but sheep and desert and dust. And I really thought I was going to be a great man. You ever felt sorry for yourself? Just keep looking this way. Don't tell nobody. You ever get in the mullet grubs? Have you ever felt like God may have let you down? Have you ever felt like that? Well, if you haven't, you ain't lived yet. All right? You haven't lived, because ain't no sense. There's not one person in the Bible. He don't paint these pictures for us. Even those in the Bible done these great exploits. You know, a lot of them felt let down. Elijah called fire down from heaven. The next day he wanted to commit suicide. A lot of them been let down. And so here is Moses at Mount Horeb. And that means desolation. Because usually God has to bring us to that place before he can really start talking to us. Because everything around us has told us everything that we thought we wanted to know. Everything around us has been speaking to us but God. We've been able to get conversation with our worries, with our trouble. We've had conversation with everything but God. And yet, here is Moses up here at Mount Horeb. It's called the Mount of Desolation. Everybody said desolate. And desolate just means that. It's empty. You feel empty. God finally brought him there. And when he brought him there, he done a strange thing. God chose to show up in one of the most ugliest bush in the desert. He could have, it would seem like, when I want to introduce myself to my wife, I bought her flowers, roses. God wanted to introduce himself to Moses. He bought him a bramble bush with thorns and began to speak in the most desolate place that man could ever be in. It's when nothing is working. All dreams are shattered. God spoke. At last, Moses hears God's voice. He done heard everybody else's voices. He heard voices from Egypt. He heard his past voice that told him why he was at that place. But today was the day he's going to hear from God. And God began to speak to him. Isn't it strange when God started talking, then we really get weak. God started speaking to him, Moses, I've chosen you. I want you to be a deliverer to my people. All right. I prepared myself for 40 years to be a leader. I went to school, got my education. I was on some boards, preparing myself. And now all of a sudden, I ain't been in school. I ain't been doing nothing. I just been hanging out in this desolate place. All I've been doing is feeling empty every day. And now you're going to show up when I'm feeling my worst and tell me you're going to use me. Did I tell you, God, that I can't talk good? Did I inform you? The last time I've lost my ability to speak. God said, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you can't talk no more. I'm glad that you done got your speech all messed up. He said, but you know what? Remember what he said, I am the author? You know what happened to us sometime today? Even now. He may call you and say something to you, and you're going to try to give him all your excuses why it can't work. You know, we're going to make all excuses why, well, you know, Lord, I would, but today, you know, I ain't feeling that good today, Lord. You need to call me on a Monday when I'm feeling better. You know what's wrong with us? We forgot who started this. And we forgot who's going to end it. He is the author and the finisher. Moses, I knew that you couldn't talk. That's why I called you now. Because when you thought you could talk, you were doing the wrong stuff. Now you can't talk, and I need you. God doesn't have a problem with you being quiet for a second. He don't have a problem with you being still. Because, matter of fact, it's only in being still do you get a chance to know him. He didn't say, keep working so you know who I am. He said, be still and know that I am God. Well, I will, but I can't. My name is Martha. And I'm the only one in the house to take care of these dishes and things. I can't stop right now, Lord. You cannot ask me when I get through doing what I'm supposed to be doing, then, Lord, I'm going to come and sit down. But you ain't going to never stop working. Your flesh is going to have you busy every day. You're going to be thinking of something you need to do. But see, Mary realized one thing. There's always going to be apple pies. There's always going to be dishes to wash. But the best thing that she knew that wasn't always. That part she chose. She realized that Jesus didn't come to her house every day. Hello? She realized that he is a real special guest in my house today. I don't care what my flesh want to do in the kitchen, but I tell you where I'm going to be. Oh, glory. I am going to sit down and let his words fall from his lips down into my spirit. He says, you know what, Martha, Martha, you're coming about with much. You got a lot of busy stuff going on, ain't you? You so busy you can't pray. You so busy you can't. Busy. God never intended for you to get that busy. That when he shows up, you can't recognize. If he's sitting down, you know I hate to give all these analogies to food, but it seems like our whole life is built around it. You know, when I go to a dinner, I like to go to a dinner and everything's prepared. So we can all just sit down and eat together. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing like going to somebody's dinner and they having hot dogs and french fries. And they bring out a hot dog and say, here, eat this. I'm working on the fries. Then by the time you get the hot dog, they come out, here, here's 2 fries. Still got some more in it? Jesus ain't like that. He's not going to come and give you just a little bit. When he said, come, I made all things ready. I got all things prepared. Guess what? All you need to do is come and sit down. Have you went to somebody's house and invited you to dinner and you never had to cook it for them? I got a daughter like that. She may cook a few things, but you know what really comes out is that she'll call me and I'll come down there and I got to cook. All the main stuff. She makes sure we got popping stuff. Looking unto Jesus. What could possibly grow from that place? Nothing. There was nothing about the place where Moses was that even would attract any type of eye that says this is where I want to be. I don't believe where we are today is where we really want to be anyway. I really don't. We may smile, put on our performance and show, but is that really where you want to be? You know, you really can find yourself when you're by yourself. A lot of times what we think about when we're by ourselves really is who we really are. Wow. That didn't go over good. I must do one of them Hail Marys full of grace kind of deal. Y'all got real Catholic on me there. See, what we think about when we're not. What do you think about when you're not? Well, just say, in the building. Just keep looking this way. Just keep. I know y'all mind has been so divine. I got you. I know you ain't missing. I know you ain't got your mind on nothing else. Cause he already told you, you know, he whose mind is. Boy, y'all got these scriptures down so well. I don't even know why I'm teaching y'all. So now, when you're not here, you wake up in the morning. How long do he stay on your mind? First phone call? Is it the first phone call get him off your mind? Sister so-and-so calling me. Girl, did I tell you what? No, what? Oh, yeah, man, it was bad. I tell you. Did you hear about some? You know how long Jesus stayed on our mind? Until we got up and started watching the news. Huh? Now, and then we wonder why we're not experiencing what he said. Well, I know what the Bible said. The Bible said he's going to keep us in perfect peace. But he also said if you keep your mind on him. But we want perfect peace in our perfect mess and keep our mind on our mess. Uh-oh, here we go. We want to keep our mind on everything but what he said to keep his mind on. There is a real sickness today among the Christian people. We think that we can worry enough so we can move God. God does not worry. All right? How many of y'all believe that? Amen. Well, do you believe this part then? As he is. Hold just a minute. He don't worry. Let me ask you a question. Do you?
Yes, I do. I ain't gonna lie. Yes, I do.
So you're not as he is then. I said, you're not as he is then. Because you are worrying and he don't worry. Do you think Jesus ever pout? Something tells me Something tells me we got a problem. Houston, we do have a problem. Something is out of orbit. Something is not flying right. Now here he sits and tells me all this stuff. As he is, so are we. And then we turn around, we act like when you die and go to heaven that you're going to be worried every day. Hmm? Or why are you worried every day now? No, because you know what he told you to do? He said, the Father seeketh such to worry.
Worship.
Oh, he said what?
He said worship.
He said worship?
Yes.
I could have swore he said the Father seeketh such to worry.
He said worship.
He said worship, didn't he? And guess what we won't do?
We
We
will worship.
won't worship, but I tell you what we will do.
We'll worry.
Man, we'll worry. We'll have more prayer requests. We'll have more things. We'll have more things going on. We'll have all kind of stuff going on. You know why? Because we love to worry. Because you know what I found out in church? Misery loves. When you start living in the joy and the peace of God, you'll be living by yourself most of the time. Uh-oh, here we go. Jesus. I said, when you started really living, hey, you know when Jesus came, there wasn't a whole lot of people in this circle. You know why? He lived in peace. Hmm? He lived in peace. And you know what he was always saying? I do always those things I see my Father do. See, we don't even know who our daddy is. See, I never did get a chance to see my daddy for a long time. It was too late. We never even really had a conversation, so I really don't know that daddy. But I'm so glad I found the daddy, though. Yeah, I found one. And you know what I want to be? I want to be just like him. That's what I want to be like. I don't want to be like my mother. I want to be like my daddy. That is not a gender hate crime. Because you need to understand, your identity will always come from your father. Because the identity is always in the seed. Right? And if you don't have that identity, this is the reason why today a lot of people are waiting for people to tell them who they are that don't even know who they are, that's telling them who they are. Oh, you know, if I was you, but you ain't me. And thank God you're not. I don't think the world can handle two of us. But you're not me. I'm not you. Could I say this before we close today? I don't know what time it is, really. Let me just throw this in it free. Nah, let me. Well, let me throw it in here. Give you something to chew on the rest of the week. You remember the Lord said, I come to save that which was lost? Could somebody tell me what that was? Don't? You really don't have to say nothing. Come on, say it for you. I know you're thinking it. You want me to say it, though. I said, man, I'm riding this morning. It's like he said, I came to save that which was lost. I thought I understood that. Because, you know, in my excitement. I thought he came to save just people. Do you know what was lost? Do you know what he came to restore? Save means restore, bring back. You know what he came to bring back? He came to bring back a relationship that we lost. Hello? I come to save that which was lost. You remember the prodigal son? What did God lose in that? Exactly right. And you know what was really sad? Is that there was a son that lived close to the house that had never been in the house. And you know why he had never got in the house? Because he always identified himself as being a servant. And so he said, Lord, he said, Father, all these years have I served. There is no real relationship with a servant and a master other than the fact that a servant does what the master says. But he also said the servant don't even know what the master do. So every day it's kind of like, I wonder what you're going to have me to do today. But his son, remember what he said when the son came? He said, my son, he was lost. But now, what have he found? Well, the father just told you. The son want to come back and be a servant in the barn. The servants in the barn never have a party. They always mad. They always upset. Somebody forgot to water the cows. I got to do everything. Son came back, guess what? The father didn't even send him out to the barn to get a calf. The father didn't say, hey, before you come in the house, make sure you get all the cow stuff out. Before you come in the house, get the pig smell. Did he say any of that? Because the one thing that God wanted more than anything else in this world and still do today, he wants relationship. That's why he say, my sheep hear and they know my voice. And he ain't just talking about me preaching to you. I ain't with you all the time. God is with you. Huh? All the time. And yet you tell me you can't hear him. There's something wrong with that picture. If he's with me, I'm his son. I am not that servant in the barn. I'm not throwing hay for cows. I'm not cleaning up after the hogs either. I got a ring on my finger. And he has put a robe on me. And that robe is called the robe of righteousness. And he put shoes on my feet so that my feet will look pretty when I started preaching the gospel. Some of y'all done paid too much money getting your pedicures. Some of y'all done paid way too much money getting your feet done. All you need to do is come to the king. And he says this, how beautiful are the feet of those that preach the gospel. Your pedicure won't do it. Chinese can't write gospel on your toes. God bless you today. God bless you.